And so there is a collective, a cultural unity of African people worldwide, wherever we're from, whatever language we speak. In Holland, we express ourselves through the Dutch language, but it's an African experience. In Cuba, we express this African tradition in Spanish. In Haiti, in French. In Brazil, we speak Portuguese. You can go around the world. In Sweden, African people speak Sweden, but there's an African consciousness. There's a cultural unity. This is what Dr. Diop is saying that we have to go to. And that is what Dr. Clark meant when he said Pan-Africanism or perish. Pan means whole. You bring the whole group together. So it's all Africans coming together, Pan-Africanism. Dr. Diop says the essential thing for people to rediscover is the thread that connects them to the most remote part of their ancestral past. In other words, the further back you go, the more intact your understanding of who you are. It's like a slingshot where you have that projectile that you put in and you pull back. The objective of a slingshot is to project something in front of you, far in front of you. So imagine taking your mind, your consciousness, your understanding, your intellect, and that's the projectile that you put inside of your historical slingshot. What you know is that the further back you go, the further in the future you're going to project yourself. So in corrective history, we're not going to the past to stay there. We're going back in order to project ourselves forward. That becomes very important for us to understand. Our ancestors did a phenomenal job on the pyramids and the temples of Kemet. They did phenomenal jobs with the Monomotempan Empire in Southern Africa. They did a phenomenal job in West Africa. We're not going back there to live there. We're going back there to take those universal, powerful principles and bring them to the 21st century in order to have our children be able to move us forward as a people. So we're going back to go forward. We're going to the past in the present in order to be able to go further into the future to project what it is that we would like to do. So the erasing and the destruction of the historical consciousness also has a very powerful impact and can allow others to take those people into colonization, enslavement, and the debasement of the people themselves, for them to look at themselves as less than who they really are. You can do that when you take someone's history from them. Dr. Diop says for instance, I'll just read it. He says, a people without a historical consciousness is called a population. The loss of your national sovereignty and of historical consciousness following a prolonged foreign occupation engenders a stagnation, a standing still, or even sometimes a regression, disintegration, and a partial return to human barbarism. Dr. Diop says that even a bad history is better than no history at all, because at least you have a point of departure that you can now project yourself to. And so it becomes very important, so that when we get to the 1609 or 1620 or whatever people want to say, and it's almost like the birth of African people, well, what is our history? And if that is our history, that we were born to be enslaved, why should we be surprised if we conduct ourselves in a slave mentality way?